I learned to become more resilient by becoming more unhinged. And I want to explain exactly what I mean by that. Charles Darwin said, "It's not the strongest of the species that survive, and it's not the most intelligent of the species that survives. It is the one that's most adaptable to change." I'd like to introduce the idea of the myth of muscling through things and how being mentally tough means being able to stay committed, to stay to the plan, to be rigid, and to adhere to what your original goal was. We've been taught, especially in the American capitalist society, that strength and fortitude and resilience, all of that means loyalty and staying the course to one thing, unwavering, without hesitation. Whether you are recovering from a mental illness like depression, anxiety, PTSD, or whether you're navigating a really big life change, or even if you're just someone who wants to improve your life for the better, all of those things will require to try different avenues and to try different things in order to succeed. When you think back to grade school or college, even to professors that were the most loved and the most respected, they were the ones who were able to explain one concept in three, four, five different ways and different angles. And all of those things are just adapting the concept to different people. When you are facing a situation or a circumstance that you have never been in before, and you don't know exactly what the solution is, being flexible and being adaptable is your way of telling the divine that you are humble and you are open to answers that you don't know yet. Being flexible is hard though, and speaking as a recovering perfectionist, I definitely struggled with letting go of control. And letting go of control is really what is able to open you up to answers and solutions that would have been impossible to come to on your own. Hand in hand with the myth of muscling through and the need for flexibility is also the art of spontaneity. And those two together, a match made in heaven. I read a quote somewhere once that laughter is what happens when joy and surprise meet. And I never forgot that for some reason. It's so true when you think about humor. Most of what is funny is surprising. There's something about it that's um, unexpected. To be spontaneous is to be open, to be humble, to be curious, to be all the things that will invite in the unexpected, will invite in more joy, and will invite in more laughter. These things will also bring in answers. They will solve questions that you may not even be aware that you have at the moment. If you are going through something that you don't know the answer to, be spontaneous and being open to receiving in any form, any way, any avenue that the universe wants to give it to you, that will bring you so much more clarity than the person who is rigid and unable to adapt from what their version of strength is in their mind. If you've seen the movie with Jim Carrey called Yes Man, where he literally needs to say yes to every single thing that comes his way, that is such a perfect example of where flexibility and spontaneity come together and literally change lives completely. If flexibility and spontaneity come natural to you, congratulations. That is honestly such an underrated superpower. If it doesn't come natural, like in my case, it is worth cultivating the art of being able to let go. And that is the hardest part about flexibility and spontaneity, obviously. I think the majority of us struggle with letting go of control and being open to changing what we have either been raised to believe is the best or we've come to believe is the best from our own experiences. That's not to say that what we originally thought is incorrect or wrong. Sometimes that is the solution. Sometimes that's really the best answer. But being flexible and being spontaneous to hear other sides of the story and to hear other options for dealing with this this setback or this fork in the road that you may be coming across. It'll give you the experiences to know and confirm that you have fallen onto the right answer at the end of the day. You can experience different things and you can be open to all these different perspectives and avenues for achieving something and still come to the conclusion that you were right and the way that you were raised or the way that your experiences have taught you is the correct way. And that is amazing too. And you know for sure if you've gone through hell and back to get there. This might look like just changing your morning routine. Maybe you want your hair to grow longer and you are now open to trying an all natural route of doing it that you never would have been open to before. That's pretty resilient. You're still going. Whatever it takes to keep going is what makes it resilient. And it's what makes people strong and what makes people be able to do the long term version of it, to be sustainable and to be healthy in their desire to reach these goals. Being flexible and being open minded to different ways of doing it, that's how you're going to get there. Maybe for you, if you're also an introvert like me, it means saying yes to things that you would not have. Maybe it means saying yes to that concert that's totally not your music style. Maybe it means saying yes to trying therapy for the first time when you were raised to think that that was pretty taboo. You were raised to think that therapy was a um, tool for people who can't do things on their own. Being open minded to learning differently or being open minded to trying it, that is strength. That is resilience. That is you moving through life and going through experiences that change your perspective and allow you to keep going in a way that fosters growth. That's beautiful. All this to say that you don't need to know where you're going. I don't know where I'm going. You just need to be willing to keep going, even if it means going sideways, even if it means going in spirals. If long as you're still going, you're pretty resilient.